it's Sam, and this is the How I Read Books tag. I was tagged by the amazing Becca of Awesome Book Nut. I will link her channel down below. I'm not sure who the originator of this tag was because it looks like there's two similar tags that are kind of like this. One that's a little bit older, and I think this one, I'm not sure. So if you guys know the originator, please comment down below and let me know so I can add them into my description box because I'm not sure at this particular point in time and I feel bad for leaving them out. So question number 1 is, how do you find out about new books to read? Booktube, basically, blogs, and Twitter. Those are the 3 ways that I find books to read. I go off recommendations. I really cannot pick a book up unless it's been recommended to me in some way through Booktube or through a blog or through Twitter or something, because money is valuable to me and I don't want to just dump it on a book that I might not like. So I like to go to the people that I trust for book recommendations and look at their book recommendations and be like, okay, they like this book. They also liked my favorite book, so therefore I'll probably like this book. It's a good investment. I'm not really like a walk into a bookstore and spontaneously pick up a book because I just can't. I can't do that with anything. I can't do that with electronics. I can't do that with makeup. Like, I have to research everything about it and make sure I'm gonna love it mostly. I mean, obviously you can't predict all of that, but I like to be as sure as possible before I pick up a book. So recommendations from the interwebs is what I go on. Question number 2, how did you get into reading? I've answered this before, but I've always been a reader. I feel like a lot of us answer the very same way. I was reading when I was little. I read the American Girl books when I was growing up. I read everything from the school library, basically, and then in high school, I continued to read from the school library, and then after high school, I think it was after high school, oh my gosh, I just can't remember things, is when Twilight happened, like right after high school. I think I was in college. I think it was my freshman year of college. I might be wrong. But that's when that happened, and then that picked up the whole, like, reading the young adult genre because I didn't really know about the young adult genre before that. So that's kind of where all of this started. Question number 3 is, how has your taste in books changed as you've gotten older? I wouldn't necessarily say it's changed as far as like getting older it's changed. It's just changed as far as like what I've been introduced to. So with Twilight and stuff, after reading Twilight, I was, like many people, hooked on like the paranormal genre for a little bit. So I love the Anita Blake books. I've talked about them before. And also the Mary Gentry novels by the same author, Laurel K. Hamilton. She writes the Mary Gentry series, which is a series about fae, and then she writes the Anita Blake series, which is about like vampires and everything else paranormal and craziness. So I was addicted to these books. There's like 20 of them in each of the series. It's insane, but I was addicted to these because I love the paranormal genre, and I stayed in the paranormal genre for a while. And then I started to kind of delve into like dystopian when dystopian started getting popular, and then started to delve into like fantasy. I've always been a fantasy person. I read fantasy when I was younger. I read The Hobbit when I was like too young to understand it, honestly, but I had forgotten. So I just kind of get like reintroduced to different genres and kind of mix around. I never used to be into contemporary, and now I kind of read it on a fairly regular basis now, which is like bizarre. That happened the last year. I never used to like contemporary. It's still not my favorite genre by any means, but I like a lot more than I used to. So it just kind of ebbs and flows. And I'm always gonna like certain things, like I'm always gonna like fantasy, but other genres might kind of like ebb and flow with the times and what I'm really liking at the moment. Question number 4 is, how often do you buy books? This really depends. Recently, I haven't really been on like a ban or anything, but I've been putting myself on like a do you really need this now kind of limit to myself because I feel like I have enough books, and I have enough books that I'm really excited about that I don't feel like buying books very often. When I first started Booktube, I was buying them every 2 weeks. Every paycheck I would take a chunk out of my paycheck to buy books, and I'm completely happy with that. There were so many book outlet hauls. I loved it. And I'm happy that I did that because now I have a huge selection on my shelves. But generally speaking, unless I find something that I need to read right at this moment, or like a pre-order that comes in, because I'll pre-order books sporadically throughout the year. If like a sequel's coming out, I'll make sure I pre-order after I read the first book, etc., etc. So, I don't really know. Sometimes it's like once a month. Usually I buy books at least once a month, even if it's like one book. So yeah, I would say at least once a month, sometimes more. I don't really have a schedule for book buying, to be honest. Question number 5, how did you get into booktubing? I've answered this before, but I found the booktube community a couple years ago, but didn't realize it was a huge community, and it really wasn't a couple years ago when I found it. But I found Misty of the Book Rack, Kaz from Little Book Owl, and Jessica's My Frog, who is Lena. So I found those 3 people primarily at the beginning, and I followed them back when I was like following a bunch of beauty channels, which I still do, by the way, but I used to have mostly beauty channels on my feed and a few book channels, and now it's like mostly book channels and a few beauty videos. But I found them, and then about a year ago I was like, I really want to be like doing something, and I want to do something like social, and I want to get into like YouTube, but I don't really know what to do because I don't really feel like I should be doing beauty, but I don't really know. And then I discovered that like the booktube community was actually bigger than I thought it was, and I was like, I'm gonna do that, and now we're here. Question number 6 is how do you react when you don't like the end of a book? Like that, actually. I get very disappointed. Sometimes it'll get me in like a book hangover. Actually, book hangovers can happen for me whether I really love a book or really hate a book. So yeah, usually I have to vent to somebody that doesn't like the book too, or that's read the book. I have to be like, the ending, and they're like, I know. Or I have to go on Goodreads and like go through like all of the bad reviews. I have to do something because yeah, that doesn't happen to me very much. Typically speaking, that doesn't happen a ton. Like, I tend to be fairly okay with endings no matter how like vague they are, whatever. There's been a few times where I've been like, and then I have to peruse Goodreads and other places for like negative reviews to be like, yes, yes, yes. Question number 7, how often do you take a sneak peek at the end of the book to see if there's a happy ending? I don't go all the way to the end, and I've actually broken myself of this habit, but I used to kind of flip through a lot more to make sure that things were okay. I still do that sometimes. Especially if it's a really intense book and like someone might die and I'm like, listen, I can't deal with this. I need to know if they pop up again. So I'm like, a little bit. Like, I don't read whole sentences, but I'll look for like a name. I never go to the end. I never like try to spoil myself purposely, and I don't do this as often as I used to. I used to do this all the time, and I've really stopped doing that because it sucks when you like will try to do that and then you'll get spoiled for something and you're like, damn it, self. Yeah, I don't do it nearly as often as I used to, and I kind of broke myself with a habit. I never look at the very end and spoil myself like that because then why bother even finishing the book at that point? Come on. Question number 8 is who are you going to tag? I'm not sure because I didn't do my research before this, so I'm not sure who has done this tag, but I'm gonna say Sarah J. TheBookLife, because why not? Because I always tag her and everything, because it's kind of like my job. NovelTea, whose name I'm forgetting, and I just watched one of her videos. Oh, I'm so unprepared for this tag. And TeaLeavesandBookBindings, I think is her channel name. So yeah, I will tag all of them down below. Alright guys, that is it for the tag. Comment down below and let me know some of the answers to some of these questions, like how you react to a bad ending. Do you peruse through Goodreads for the bad reviews as well? Because I feel like that's very therapeutic. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!